Hola, bienvenidos a Roctámbulos. Nos encontramos con otra entrevista y esta vez estamos con Michale Graves. How are you, Michael?
I'm well, thank you.
And we have a lot of questions for you. And I guess that I was checking at your career. And before we go to what is currently happening in an interview, you said that after the Misfits experience, you lost, and I'm quoting, you lost everything. But nevertheless, you were a music enthusiast and started Graves, Gotham Road, and then your solo projects. So what I want to know is how was your mindset back then when you lost everything, I'm quoting, with the Misfits?
Well, I mean, as you can imagine, my mindset was not a good one. I was very young when I joined the Misfits, and it was a very tumultuous time for me personally while I was in the band. Um, and then when I left the band, obviously the shock of not being in that situation anymore, not being in the band. All my friends, everything I had ever known, up to that was in that band. That was my whole world. And it's a funny thing when once I didn't have any money anymore and I wasn't in the Misfits, there were many people that didn't care about me anymore. So and again, there were a lot of personal challenges after that. I had lost, um, you know, uh, uh, there were people that I cared about very much that passed away. It was a very, very difficult time for me. So um, it was very difficult to build back and get myself to a place where I felt like both my feet were on the ground. It was not an easy path. It's not an easy journey. I mean, it's still not easy.
But I guess that is sort of like I know that you'll find like a warm place when you see that for example, the Kickstarter projects always succeed. You know that you have a very loyal fan base. You know when did you made that click that okay, I'm not alone in this business?
It's really only been till recently in the past few years. I took a lot for granted along the way, a lot for granted. Um, you know, so I've really started to in the to take notice of that and be thankful that there's so many people out there that love what I do and love my music, whether it's Misfits music or Michael Graves solo music. Um, Really, that's what keeps me going when I go out on the road and I meet people and there's people waiting for me at the hotel and there's people trying to get in the van um and there's just so much, so many smiling faces, and I hear so many incredible stories, and um that spirit of joy and love and togetherness wherever I go in the world is, that's what's real. Money and fame and um you know all those things are fleeting, but it's that connection that I'm able to make with individuals through my music and personally when I get to see them and hug them and look them in their eyes and speak to them. That's what's important. That's what keeps me strong.
Yeah, I remember that in your last show in Argentina, you were like very going like with a back and forth conversation with the audience, and I guess that's what matters in the end because, I mean, in 10 years from now, well, if we actually if we ask for a 18 years old young person what is Black Sabbath, it's going to answer well, I don't know. And maybe the same will happen to you, and of course to me in my current activities. So it's our legacy, like what you
Yeah.
do on the road, it's your legacy.
I'm very, very proud that when I'm gone, if I disappear tomorrow, or when the good Lord takes me, that I know that people are going to remember that that I was always loving towards people, and that when I met people, I never walked away from somebody that wanted to take a picture or sign an autograph or wanted a hug. Sometimes, my security detail, they hate me because
Hmm.
I'll just stand around and I won't leave until they're literally dragging me away, because I mean, that's what's most important, is making that connection to people. The reason that people want to hear this music is because it means something to them in their life, and they're connected to the music, their life, whether it's, whatever it is, whatever emotion, but it's powerful to them. Um, and if I get to spend 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes with somebody, and make a connection that lasts, people will always remember that. And I've been so fortunate in my life to have so many opportunities to do that. And I know that my legacy is going to be that I was I was a man of the people, if you will, and
Hmm.
that people individually, as well as collectively, was really what is most important to me.
And something else that I was listening to your music today, and actually the album Keys, and I was listening to your register, and I thought, okay, what are the influences here? What I mean, it is Johnny Cash, it's Elvis, but I noticed that it's your actual voice. I mean, it's how you speak. So, I mean, from the very beginning, what were your influences for your vocal tone?
Wow. When I was young, I really loved Joe Elliott from Def Leppard. I always wished that I had a tenor of my voice like that. Sebastian Bach from Skid Row was always amazing to me. Um, Freddie Mercury, I love Freddie Mercury and his voice and his style. Um, I get weird looks, but also Bono from U2, even though he's a total tool. I love his voice, and I love how he sings and performs. Ozzy Osbourne. I listened to a lot of Ozzy Osbourne when I was young, and loved to listen to him sing. Greats like that. Um, uh, uh, I mean, I could go on. I've always been um, I've always loved all types of music. I've never just been, a metal guy or a punk guy it was never like that. I mean, I can cite Barry Manilow as an influence. I love the music of Barry Manilow. And on the other end, Randy Blythe is totally blows my mind, the way that he is able to vocalize and sing. And
Yes,
I was able to tell him that, many, many, many years
oh,
ago, when nobody knew who Lamb of God was.
yeah, because what I'm saying is that you go from this very personal storyteller to like a performer. So it's like two sides of a single person. So I mean, what is behind the storyteller?
I might have something to do with my Irish descent, where it's just kind of in me. But I've always been a theater person. I've always loved the the all encompassing art, of being able to articulate a story. Why are you doing this? What is behind this? What are behind the actions? What's behind the story, the music? But I've always been that kind of artist. I've studied dance, I've studied vocals, I've studied um, acting, scene construction. writing, non-regional dialect. I've immersed myself in the arts, but also I've always been I've always been amazed by what's behind the music, right? In the 90s there was that MTV show Behind the Music.
Mhm.
um, and I just love to hear and articulate the genesis of art, and where it comes from, and where songs come from, and where music comes from, because I believe that as artists, true artists, these songs don't necessarily come from me, they come through me, they come through artists, and we have access to what we have access to this, the universal mind, if some people describe it as the universal mind, and emotions are universal. Like you and I, we joy is the same, anger is the same. And so when those things are put into music, that's what makes things so universal. That's why I can go to any country in the world where there's Michael Graves or Misfits fans, and I can play Dig Up Her Bones, and it means something different to me. But all these people who are total strangers, they have no idea where that music has come from or where those words have come from, yet it affects them and they sing it. They feel compelled to sing. And it helps people make more of a personal connection to the art and the music that's delivered.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I thought that maybe there was a connection with something because in your last shows in Mexico, actually, you played War Pigs. Is that from like I know maybe a particular event, or it was something like it came up with the band?
I always try to choose songs that are relevant to the times, and I just couldn't believe that there were, again, in the times that we're all living through, here in America and all over the world. It's it's like the season of war, and it's just it's a great song, and it taps into that energy of the the warmongers and the people who make war and violence. And the other side of that song are people like you and I who are affected by that. And so it was just a relevant song to play. It's a powerful song. Everybody knows it. It's a great song to sing along to. The lyrics are so simple, yet so powerful. So it's a great way to show off the band and what the band could do. And it's a great surprise as well. I've never performed that song, and again, Ozzy Osbourne and my voice, we have the same sort of timbre going on. So when I sing that song, it's I'm able to perform it really, really well.
Well, maybe we can listen to that in Argentina, but the One Man Road Show tour ended in April. So, what are your reflections about that personal, let's say, tour?
I was out for almost 90 days, 3 months on that tour. I did it alone. Um, um, and it was very, very challenging for me in America. The cultural landscape, the political landscape, as it's merged with with art and music. Um, I find myself on the receiving end of a lot of hate and backlash, and people who want to see me fail, and who are very active in their efforts to do that. And so it was a challenging 3 months for me. Um, but looking back on it, it was a great success for me. I say there no weapon against me was able to prosper in that time, and there were a lot of shows that were canceled. There was a lot that happened, but every night that I went to a venue and played for people was just an amazing thing. Again, because it's just me with my acoustic guitar, and I tell stories and I interact with the crowd, and I'm able to strip away all of the all of the things that you can hide behind when you have a full band, and just really get back to the basics. And that sort of experience, people don't get to see that a lot. I don't do a lot of things good in my life, but performing and singing and playing, I do exceptionally well. And I know that I'm able to sit with my acoustic guitar and the voice that God gave me, and really, really bring an experience um that's very powerful to people. And so when I look back on that tour, it was a great success. And I'm during it was very difficult, but I'm so happy to have been able to complete it, and all the people that helped me, and all the conversations that I had, and all the experiences were just an incredible thing, really.
But being like, let's say, like an outspoken conservative and talking about the presence of Jesus Christ in your life, was it like an upward path that you go, that it was full of obstacles in this scene, this music scene that is full of imagery of maybe because of joking and all that, but of horror and Satan and all of that. It is like an upward path, or is it something like that you can now manage perfectly?
People ask me, I'm much more of a Christian than I am, conservative. I guess my values here in America fall in line with the conservative people, right? Um, my I've always, even back in the Misfits, as a young person, as a my not duty, but I've always wanted to bring a spirit of joy to people. I know that everybody's going through something. Everybody has different things that's happening to them, and music is what brings us together. We find healing in music. We find power in music. We find all the things that there's a you know that live in that spiritual energy. And I know, I've been asked before, well, as a Christian, as a conservative, the imagery that you portray, or the songs that you sing, isn't that counter to what your values and your morals might be? And it isn't, because if you listen to my lyrics, the things that I've said since I was very young, even in the Misfits, I've always held true to my morals and my values and my integrity. You have to understand the darkness, in order to defeat that darkness. And if I just went around and sang like happy songs and had all these, rainbows and sunshines, sure, people can, they can connect to that. But, I know what pain is, and I know what hurt is, and I understand depression and loss and all of those things. And so you find that in my music, obviously. But even in the Misfits music, even in the darkest songs that I've written, there's always that glimmer of hope that you sense from the music, and that's why people connect to it, and that's why the music is still so strong, and why there's so many people that smile and want to hug you, and just have such a great experience when they come to hear and see the Misfits music or Michale Graves music, because ultimately that's it. A lot of people charge me with being a hateful person, where I hate gay people, or I hate black people, or I hate this, or I hate that. And that's part of the craziness of all of this, because anyone that's ever met me, or anyone that has ever had anything to do with me, knows that that is so far from who I am, who I ever was. I might have been, I mean, not might have been, I was crazy when I was younger, and I've done some, you know, justifiably insane things, but never hateful. You know, I was a theater kid. I hung out with the misfit people. You know, I hung out with all those people that didn't fit in, whether they were gay or straight or tall or fat, skinny. Doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. It's that spirit of joy and community and love that's what's most important to me. I've dedicated my life to that.
Yeah, I was referring if you had like this fear of being canceled in these political times.
I'm one of the most canceled band musicians in America right now. It's very, very difficult for me. There are no inroads for me into the music industry. Um, you know, especially here in America, there's no pathway for me. I have been canceled. I am banned. It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult for me.
And well, something else that I was writing about is that again, like Keys. Again, I'm going to that album. It's a great album, and it includes one of my favorite songs that it feels like I am dying. And I don't know if there's any chance of listening to that song that actually had a video. So I know maybe like an encore or something. I don't know if there's a chance.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that there's not a chance. There's so many songs that I've written, including that one. And that's one of my favorites too. Um, I mean, I have so many ideas and so many visions for songs that I've written that I hope maybe someday I can bring to fruition. But again, especially the past, 5 or so years have really been crushing for me, and I've here in America, and I've really been spit out the mouth of the American music industry, and I'm not welcome back. Um, so I'm doing my best to figure out a way forward.
Okay, so we're basically we're running out of time. So I wanted to know what are your expectations for the Latin American tour, and most of all Argentina. Did you have a real good connection with the Argentine public
I
audience?
love Argentina. Yeah, I love Argentina. I have incredible memories of being in Argentina. I've written a lot of music while I was in your country years ago. Um, I love the people, the feeling that I get when I'm there. Your culture is I really really look forward to coming back. I have friends in Argentina that I've known for over a decade. Um, so I really look forward to coming back and being accepted the way that I am with open arms in your country is just a beautiful, beautiful thing that I'm so thankful and happy for. And I really look forward to coming back and reaching as many people as I possibly can and being a blessing and to them and just bringing as much joy and happiness as I possibly can while I'm there.
Okay, Michael, thank you so much. I know that you have a hectic schedule, so I guess that we will meet in October. That is when you are going to be playing in Argentina.
I look forward to it. Thank you.